All right guys, fun project in the shop. GMC Sierra dropped off. And for a full paint correction and ceramic coating service, got a lot of prep work to do. Starting with the paint, wheels, we're gonna be coating the wheels and the plastic trim. You can see there's a bunch of swirl marks on the paint, but we're gonna go through and prep everything first, including the engine bay. If you wanna come over to this side and take a look at it, this is some more of the problem areas. Got some twig marks in the paint, went through some off-road trails and left a lot of these little scratches behind. I'm kind of zooming up close there, but I'll show you under the lights once we get it in the shop. But it goes all the way down. Probably gonna have to do some heavy machine cut, maybe a little bit of wet sanding work, but we're gonna get this truck dialed in. It's time to get started. All right, I'm gonna be quick with this. It's starting to get dark outside. I've just foamed it down. I got my flat out wash mitts. Just gonna go through and clean the whole truck, top to bottom. And then tomorrow morning, I'm gonna resume and decontaminate the truck. All right, even though this truck is getting corrected and it's already got a lot of swirls in it, I always separate the lowers and the upper portions of the truck. That way, if there's like rocks or sand or any extra dirt, I'm not picking that up with my other wash mitts and spreading it across the whole vehicle. I'm keeping that down low and just scrubbing away with a dedicated wash mitt. Doesn't matter which one you use, just as long as you know which one's which. All right, this is just the final rinse. Let's go. This is also the part of the job where all the door jamb work that I did, I'm gonna spray rinse that out too. That way you can just easily dry it later on. But no dirt in there for sure. Truck is pulled in, it's washed. I have a clear picture of what this paint looks like. I still gotta go through and clay it. And in this video, I'm gonna be sharing with you the highlights of this project, correcting the paint, getting these tree branch scratches out, the swirl marks in the paint, and overall just getting this thing completely restored top to bottom, and then applying beadlock black ceramic coating. So let's just get into it. Once the truck is in the shop and is clean, the surface is clean, Then the next stage is to go through the clay process to lift up any remaining impurities from the surface. So when you go through and feel your paint, you can hear that's rough. Got to use a clay bar process. You know, we do this and we include this in every single package, especially when we're doing any polishing work. So the main tools I'll be working with today for the correction step is a rotary machine. This is a wool pad on a Rupes rotary. That's gonna be the first cutting step. The second's gonna be on a Rupes 15, which is a dual action. This orbits and spins, and that's gonna refine out the rotary marks. And then we're gonna do a third step with this same machine with a fine foam pad to finish out the defects. In addition, we've got these two mini tools here with a 3-inch backing plate for the areas that are a little bit tighter. Some areas where up here or up by the windows, especially out by the tailgate where there's a lot of tight crevices, we're gonna be using an assortment of these tools with the appropriate pads to correct this paint top to bottom. These runners in the paint, looks like from all these trails, you can definitely see that. I made a little bit of an indentation, but it doesn't look like it's through the paint. So we're gonna go through the 3-step on this side, go through my rotary and wool, knock this stuff down, see what it's gonna take to eliminate it. Should look a lot better. So when I go ahead and wipe off this compound from the rotary step, we're gonna see all these buffer trails get left behind, and that's totally expected. See those little wavy marks in the paint? That's part of the correction process. The rotary and wool is an aggressive method, and it leaves behind these buffer trails, also just due to the rotation of the machine. And these might look familiar to you if you've ever had a bad detail job done, like a quick buff, and they leave all these buffer trails. But in this case, we're actually gonna utilize the tool properly. And the next step of this correction process is gonna go through with a DA, random orbital, and level out these defects. It's gonna be refining out these marks. And then there'll be a third final step to polish it out. Here's a reminder of what it looked like before, with all those scratches in the paint, and then we move to our first correction step. Got all those wavy marks, and then we move a little bit further over. We did our refinement step with the DA, and we're about 80% there. There's still a little bit of haze in the finish, but we corrected the paint, got those marks out, removed those buffer trails. We got a big truck to do. This side of the truck is almost complete. I went through and did the 2 stages of correction there. It's awaiting the final polish, which I'm gonna do at the end when the whole truck is done. I gotta go to the other side and start correcting there. But one thing that we do is really important so we can get consistent results throughout is cycle out the pads. In between sections, we blow them out, clean them out, but over time, these are gonna get overheated and they're also gonna get clogged up with compounds. So we have brand new fresh pads. We'll probably go through a few of these for the correction job for all the machines, the rotary pads and also the DA pads. They just get a little caked up, so we gotta cycle them out, and it's important to have these pads on hand. I'm all wrapped up with the cutting stages. Left behind, we have a lot of compound dust and residue all over the truck. I basically have to do another detailed process, go through compressed air, get all the dust out of the cracks and crevices, and then do a waterless wash on the exterior before moving forward with the final polish. This is a 3-stage process. The first 2 stages are complete and it looks like it's 90% there. The final polish is gonna lift out extra clarity and just bring out all the sparkle that we wanna see. One of the areas in this process that always gets the dirtiest is the door jambs. Always gotta make sure you pop open these door jambs and get all that compound dust out. And also all these cracks and crevices in the door handles and the window trim. These little pink, getting all these edges. Helps keep the process clean. Check it out, guys. It's a new day. It's time for the finishing polish. This is the final machine work of the process before ceramic coating the paint. So going through with my polish to eliminate any haze from that compounding step. And a couple ways that I check my work and make sure that the paint is looking 100%. Polish the paint and then wipe it with a panel prep that's gonna remove all oils and residues. I've got 2 different colored lights here. One that's an LED finish that really helps spot defects, and then another more of an orange lamp that is the same color temperature as the sun. So I can pinpoint any haze in the paint that I still haven't removed. Another thing that we'll do is turn off these overheads to get a little bit more of a concentrated finish, more concentrated eye on what I'm working with. So a combination between these 2 lights, I've got a handheld light as well. I'll be able to finish out this paint no problem. We've got a lot of work to do still, so stay tuned. Next step in the process is to coat the plastic trim. I'm going through to protect the plastics with beadlock trim, and a similar process, got to wipe them down with a residue remover to make sure the surface is perfectly clean so the coating can actually bond to the surface. I like to do this before I ceramic coat the paint, just in case I get any excess on the painted surface, I can wipe it off easily. But this product works super well, helps protect the trim from fading. Manufacturer states it'll last up to a year, but I've had customers come back over a year later with cars that are kept outside and it hasn't skipped a beat. It looks really good, it stays black. You don't really have to do much maintenance to it as long as it's applied properly. Once in a while, if it's in severe conditions, you might have to condition it, like maybe once in that year. But overall, plastic trim, I love selling this as an add-on. Really helps keep the appearance of the vehicle looking really good. All right, finally on the final stretch, this is the final wipe down and panel prep to remove any last oil residues, any sort of polishing oils. This is the final step before coating. Now we're ready for coating. Coating of choice today is Beadlock Black. This is included in the level 3 service. It's a ceramic coating that will last up to 5 to 7 years, depending on care. I've got my leveling towel and my second wipe. Ceramic coatings are going to serve as a sacrificial barrier of protection. So going forward, instead of your clear coat taking the damage, the ceramic coating will be the first line of defense. And it will be very easy to maintain, super hydrophobic, and it does enhance gloss. This coating is also pretty tacky. So as I apply it to the paint, it's already starting to set up. And you gotta be careful with this because you can't just apply it and walk away, because if it hardens too much before you level it off, you're not gonna be able to level it off with towels. You're gonna have to polish the surface again. So there's a fine window of time where the coating's ready to be leveled off and it being too late. So with this coating, it's not very flexible. You have to let it sit for maybe a minute. I let it sit as long as I can because you don't want to wipe it off too soon. You want to let it set up properly. But about a minute for this coating, I can already feel it starting to get a little grabby. It does depend on the paint surface, what kind of clear coat you're applying it to. I've applied this to several cars now, and some cars are a little easier to apply it to. So you kind of just have to know what you're working with. That concludes it, guys. The project is complete. The Sierra is looking phenomenal. If you're looking for a service like this on your vehicle, our shop is located in Oceanside. Feel free to stop in for a consult. That's the best way for me to take a look at the paint and see what it needs. Hope you enjoyed the video. Feel free to share it or contact us through our website.